There are moments in life when the more a person tries to be quiet, the louder the noise gets. ArionneCurry's life is at exactly the same point right now. One live video, one sentence, one momentary slip-up, and the entire internet turned against him. His comments about Melody's children set social media on fire. Criticism everywhere, venom in every comment. Just one phrase on every fan's tongue: "You've crossed the line." Arionne is sitting on the sofa staring at the screen of her mobile. Messy hair, dark circles under the eyes, and a stillness on the face that tries unsuccessfully to hide the storm inside. She sees thousands of comments, people shouting, taunting. But to her, the noise is not just words. It is a rehearsal of her doom. She closes her eyes for a moment, takes a deep breath, and says softly, "I didn't do anything wrong." But her voice lacks the conviction that once characterized her. Fragments of the past flash in his mind like lightning. Martell's laugh, his promises, the moments when Arionne thought of herself as the girl, when everything seemed fine. But now those moments have become a dream. To him, Martell was a promise that vanished into thin air, a dream that melted into reality. As flashbacks play through his mind, Martell's voice in the car echoes, "Look, people will always talk, but I'm with you." At that time, Arionne's face was calm. But time broke those promises like a glass wall breaking and shattering. And now the wall that was once built on trust has turned into rubble. There is no longer that old light in Arionne's eyes. Now there is only a tiredness, a question: where was the mistake in the end? Martell has broken off contact with her and Melody. She has entered a new chapter in her life. She is now a strong woman, smiling despite her pain. "I've learned that silence is sometimes the greatest answer," she says in a viral clip of her interview. This phrase became a strength for millions of fans. But a wound for Arionne. She considered this silence a weakness, but Melody took it as her strength. This was unbearable for Arionne. He decided that she too would speak. He began another live face calm but tone venomous. He said, "People are defaming me. Melody is no angel. She has secrets too. I just didn't hide my truth." But truth becomes poison when spoken in anger. Fans took his words as an attack, not an admission. Once again, the internet exploded. "She's gone crazy. She needs help. She's doing it all for Martell." Hate in every comment, sarcasm in every word. Arionne's eyes watered, but his voice was stubborn. "I'm not doing anything for anyone, I'm just telling the truth." But perhaps he doesn't realize that telling the truth is one thing, but knowing when, where, and how is the work of wisdom. He has a heart, but his understanding is probably lost somewhere. In the silence of the night, she was sitting alone looking at her phone screen. Notifications turned off, but the voice inside continued to echo. "Am I really that bad? Or has everyone never heard the other side of my story?" A thought occurred to him: "I will tell my own story. The whole truth, whatever." At that moment, a new storm started to arise inside Arionne. She feels that now is the time to be her own voice, to show her story to the world. But maybe he doesn't realize how much the price of telling the truth is. ArionneCurry's silence is about to end. But the noise that will arise after the silence is broken will be dangerous not only for him, but for all of Huntsville. Because this truth isn't just words. It's an explosion that will either wipe everything clean or burn everything to ashes. But a storm was brewing inside Arionne's house. He did not sleep all night. There were 3 cups of coffee on the front table, all empty. He had a phone in his hand, determination in his eyes, and anxiety in his heart. He rehearsed his live script over and over again, thinking about what to say, how to say it, but each time something would change. The voice inside him said, "Just tell me, Arionne. Tell the truth to everyone." But somewhere from a corner of the heart, another voice would rise. "Do people really want to listen to you? Or do they just want to watch a show?" But now she did not stop. He listened to his heart. "It's my time." He pressed the live button. Within moments, hundreds of people connected. Comments started flowing. What excuse will she make now? Look, what is the drama now? But there was a strange calmness on Arionne's face. She took a deep breath and said, "I have come to tell the truth today." At that moment, social media stopped. His voice did not have the tremor it always had, but a strange hardness. He said, "People call me infamous, but no one ever asks what really happened during Melody and Martell's marriage. I never set out to break anyone's house. I fell in love, yes, but that love broke me." Hearing his words, the comment section started burning like fire. Some people said, "Now she is showing herself innocent. Maybe this is the first time she's telling the truth," said some. Arionne continued to speak, as if removing the burden of years from her heart. "Martell made promises to me. He said he wasn't happy in the marriage. He said he wanted a separation. I believed him. Maybe it was my fault," she said. Tears started streaming down her face, but she did not stop. "I was just a girl back then who wanted love. But I forgot that some loves only come to punish." In the silence of that moment, the brightness of her tears blurred the screen. Then he mentioned Melody. She said, "I didn't hate Melody, but she never listened to me. I wanted her to understand that I was human too, but she just saw me as a disaster." It was at this moment that the audience split into two. Some rose to Melody's defense, some saw the truth in Arionne's eyes for the first time. But one thing was clear. This live was not just an emotional conversation, it was ArionneCurry's debut. He said, "I know the world thinks I'm a villain, but people forget that Martell betrayed me too. He promised he would change. Talk to Melody, make everything clear. M will make everything clear. But every time he lied, I lived in his lies and now I am being punished." His voice rose, his eyes red. "Am I the only one guilty? Is Martell innocent?" For a moment there was complete silence on the live broadcast. The comments stopped. Comments stopped. People were surprised. It was the first time that Arionne was telling her story with such intensity. "Stop making Martell a hero. He lies too. He put all the blame on me to save his reputation." He said at the same time, Melody's team made a post on their official page. "Some stories are not always seen from one angle. But honor is something that doesn't prove itself. It speaks for itself." Melody didn't say anything directly, but it was a silent stab. Comments on Arionne's live started to grow again. Someone was writing, "Melody never falls, you always fall." But Arionne was not listening. He continued, "I've made mistakes, yes, but I'm human. If Melody is really strong, then she should forgive me, or else she's like me, just broken in a better way." His words spread like an explosion across the internet. News pages, YouTube channels, all were running the same headline: Arionne's open attack on Melody. ArionneCurry's tears are a trick? Will Martell's next revelation destroy Arionne? That night, Arionne's followers increased, but his reputation plummeted. Some people said we understand his pain, but most said she's licking her wounds. Live is over. Arionne switched off the mobile and slowly went to her room. He looked at himself in the mirror. The face that had once been called fearless now looked defeated. He said softly, "I've spoken the truth. Now let's see what the world does." But the calm on his face didn't last long, because the truth always exacts a price, and for Arionne, that price had just begun. The next morning, Melody's team issued a legal notice. The charge was spreading defamation and false statements. Arionne's world was rocked once again. She who thought the truth had set her free had actually entered a new prison burdened by the truth. By late night, Melody's team's legal notice had gone viral, and people were now taking Arionne's silence as a sign of a new war. But the real story was about to begin. Arionne picked up the phone. Melody's lawyer's email was open in front of him. The words were harsh, the tone sharp, but there was a strange satisfaction on Arionne's face. She took a deep breath, as if to say, "If you want a war, Melody, you're going to get it." He immediately called his best friend, Tonya, who had stood by him through every storm. "Tonya, you all see? She wants to shut me up, but I won't stop now." There was silence on the other end of the phone. Then a muffled voice said, "Arionne." Sometimes you have to choose the right time to tell the truth. You have everything right now, but if you take a wrong step, this world will crush you. But Arionne was not listening. He said, now's not the time, now's revenge. At that moment, there was commotion in Martell's house too. His phone was bombarded with notifications. Arionne's new revelation, false claim against Melody. Where does Martell stand? He angrily throws the phone against the wall, saying, this woman is going to ruin me. His mother, Mrs. Holt, comes out of the kitchen saying, Martell, this is all your own doing. You put up a wall of your ego between two women, and now it's coming down on you. Martell falls silent, but inside is burning. He wonders, am I really all that the world thinks I am? Or have I just become a pawn in the game of these two women? But there was a fear in his heart if Erwin revealed the secrets that only the two of them knew. Not only Melody, but also his business empire might be destroyed. 2 days later, another storm hit. A YouTube channel, Reality T Reloaded, released an exclusive interview. Guest was ArionneCurry. The video was titled, I Broke the Silence, Melody and Martell's Secrets. The entire internet shook as soon as the video was uploaded. Erwin sat in the studio, her face serious, but her voice strong. People think I'm lying, but I'm going to show the proof, she said. He played an old voice note. It was Martell's voice saying, Melody doesn't know anything. I'll take care of everything. Just be quiet. The sound of the video was weak but clear, and those few seconds turned out to be a bombshell for Arionne. Within hours, the hashtag #MartellLeeMelodyExposed started trending, leaving people shocked, the media crazy, and the Melody team silent. Melody immediately did an Instagram live. His face was stern, but there was moisture in his eyes. She said, I was silent because I wanted to save my children. But now, if someone attacks the honor of my family, I will not back down. Millions of people were watching live at that moment. Melody didn't mention Arionne's name, but there was venom in every sentence. Some women run after destruction because they don't know peace. But remember, he who tramples on the honor of others digs his own grave. His voice trembled, but the words were like knives. By the end of the live, entire city had split into two groups, Team Melody and Team Arionne. Meanwhile, was a knock at the door of Arionne's house. When she opened the door, there was a reporter standing in front. Miss Curry, do you have any more evidence you would like to share? A small smile appeared on Arionne's lips. I have everything, but now is not the time. When I speak, the world will shake. He closed the door, but that smile didn't last long. When she got inside, she saw a new message on her phone. You don't know who you're playing. The sender number was unknown. He put the phone down, but his heart started beating. Was this Melody's warning or Martell's threat of revenge? That same night, Melody's close friend Marcus recounted an old incident in his YouTube video. When Melody decided to divorce a few years ago, she said, I'll forgive Martell just once, if he stays away from Arionne, but Martell never left. This sentence became like a fire. Arionne's followers caught him. See, Erwin's not the only one to blame. And on the other hand, Melody's fans started saying, this woman will never change. She just makes up lies. It was the same thing on the streets of Huntsville, on the radio, even in school parent chat groups. Who's telling the truth? But no one knew that the real truth was yet to emerge, because Melody also had one last card-on email Martell had sent to Arionne years before, in which he believed he had started a business with Melody's money. If that email came to light, not only Martell but the rest of Arionne's reputation would be in the dust. Melody ordered her team. Now is the time. If she speaks again, we will leak this email. On the other hand, Arionne was sitting in front of her laptop. Dark circles under his eyes, but his hands were moving quickly on the keyboard. She was producing a video, My Truth, the last episode. She stared into the camera as if facing a decisive moment. He said softly, if I'm not here tomorrow, remember this video. Melody, but now I'm going to tell the world about you both. ArionneCurry's video, which he promised the other day, My Truth, the last episode, was uploaded. Within minutes, there were millions of views. comments started pouring in. And everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see what she was going to say. The beginning of the video was simple. The dim light of her room, no makeup on her face. It's just a woman who is broken, but tired and doesn't want to be quiet anymore. Everyone called me a liar, but today I will reveal the truth, she said. As he opened a folder, screenshots of emails appeared on the screen. ALLEGEDLY, containing messages between Martell and Melody dating back to before the divorce. There was love and hate in the words of a relationship that, despite the breakup, was not completely over. This Melody is not what the world sees. She has also been playing games. Only her hands were clean because she was a woman and I was misunderstood. I didn't want to be anybody's wife. I just wanted to be the truth, she said. Tears welled up in his eyes, but there was still a spark in his voice. This truth may destroy me, but at least the world will know that I wasn't just an affair, I was a story. Before the video ended, Melody's team sprang into action. They immediately claimed copyright on the video, but it was too late. Thousands of people have downloaded it. That video was now circulating on every platform. Melody's supporters called it a show of lies, but there were many who said, maybe she's telling the truth. Maybe Melody really did control everything. It was another disaster for Martell. His business partner called and said, Martell, we can't work with you. This scandal is dangerous to our brand. He slammed the phone in anger, but inside he was scared. After the door Arionne had opened, there was no going back. Meanwhile, Melody breaks the silence. He did another live, but this time his face was calm instead of angry. I don't want a war with anyone, but if someone wants to use my name to create their identity, I will not remain silent. He motioned to his team. And the next moment, a file appeared on the screen and email from Martell, in which he believed he had built a business with Melody's money and then spent it with Arionne. It was like a bomb dropped. The entire internet was shocked. Arionne's followers were left speechless. She herself was live at that moment when someone sent that email to her comments. He read, and his face darkened. Atmosphere of the entire city had stopped. Meanwhile, Melody's new interview has gone viral. Sometimes silence is the loudest scream, he told a magazine. He did not mention Arionne's name, but everyone understood that the phrase was meant for him. In the interview, she announced her new business line, a motivational tour and fundraising for women's welfare. The world was clapping for her, but somewhere she knew it was all the result of a battle that had killed a part of her forever. Martell sat silent during that interview, watching his face on TV, but there was an emptiness in his heart. He started texting Arionne, I wish we had stopped everything. But then he put the phone down on the table at night. Arionne started his new live stream. This time the light was dim, the voice was shaky. But the words contained the same fire that had been burning inside him for years. She said, I know you all look at me with hatred, but none of you have lived in my place. When the world calls you a wrong woman, and no one listens to your truth, you either break or turn to stone. I am not broken. I am changed. He showed the picture of his daughter, which was on the wallpaper of his phone. I am saying all this so that my daughter does not become a villain in someone's story tomorrow. At that, the next morning, Arionne's sister posted a photo. Arionne sitting in a hospital, sunglasses on, but a calm face. She's fine, just needs some time, he wrote. But the internet was not at peace. The comments on YouTube were boiling over. Did Arionne make it all up? Did Melody think, where is Martell now? Melody posted a new Instagram last night. She wrote, I don't want to win, I want peace. People who call me bad don't know that I pray every night for my daughters to never see a world where women have to pay for a man's lies. This post won hearts. Likes, comments, messages of love flooded in. Melody was no longer just a TV star. She became a voice for oppressed women and Arionne. She was silent. No post, no live, nothing for 3 days. Then suddenly came a story, just one sentence on a black background. Truth became a murderer, but I'm still alive. Speculation began on the internet. Will she come back again? Will she take legal action against Melody? Or was this all his last effort? No one knows. But one thing was clear. This Huntsville story was no longer an ordinary reality show. It had become a war in which there are no absolute truths, no absolute lies, only wounds, and the truth that lies buried inside everyone. 3 days had passed, but ArionneCurry's silence had echoed through the streets of Huntsville. People were visiting her Instagram and leaving comments, as if they were waiting for a response, but she was nowhere to be found. Some say she's left town, some say she's in a rehab center, and some say she's preparing for her next move. But the truth was that Arionne was locked in her own apartment, with old newspaper pages under the door, an empty coffee cup on the table, and a laptop open in front of her with a new video draft on the screen titled, "When It's All Over." She took a deep breath and said, "Now, no one can take away my truth." But before he could speak, he heard a phone call. The number was unknown, but the voice was familiar. "Arionne, this is my last advice to you. Keep quiet. The more you speak, the more they win." It was Melody's friend Tasha, who had once been close to Arionne, but now distanced herself from him. There was fear and pain in his tone. Arionne smiled and said, "I am not going to be afraid anymore. They have taken everything from me. Now I have nothing left to lose." The call ended, but at that moment, it was as if the atmosphere of the entire city had stopped. Meanwhile, Melody's new interview has gone viral. "Sometimes silence is the loudest scream," he told a magazine. He did not mention Arionne's name, but everyone understood that the phrase was meant for him. In the interview, she announced her new business line, a motivational tour and fundraising for women's welfare. The world was clapping for her, but somewhere she knew it was all the result of a battle that had killed a part of her forever. Arionne started his new live stream. This time the light was dim, the voice was shaky. But the words contained the same fire that had been burning inside him for years. She said, "I know you all look at me with hatred, but none of you have lived in my place. When the world calls you a wrong woman and no one listens to your truth, you either break or turn to stone. I am not broken. I am changed." He showed the picture of his daughter, which was on the wallpaper of his phone. "I am saying all this so that my daughter does not become a villain in someone's story tomorrow." At that moment, tears flowed from his eyes. "Melody, if you're watching this, you won. But remember, we've both lost love, honor, and the trust we once had. Martell, you've become the man who lost his soul between two women, and me. I've become the shadow everyone fears. But now I'll tell the truth, even if the world erases my name after that." His words spread like lightning across social media. People started commenting, some prayed for him, others mocked him. But a new segment emerged that was saying, perhaps Arionne is not as wrong as we have been led to believe. A YouTuber made a video about it, titled "The Woman Behind the Hate." The video shows Arionne's old pictures, her dreams, her college life, and the moments when she was just a normal girl who believed in love. Gradually, the narrative began to change. Melody's team reacted. It's all a sympathy game, not reality. But Melody herself was in a strange dilemma. She said to her sister, "Have I really become cruel?" "No, you're just trying to escape," she replied. But somewhere in her heart, Melody knew that Arionne's silence still echoed in her conscience. Then suddenly there was an unexpected twist. Announced that the next season of Love Marriage Huntsville will feature a new face, and people immediately began speculating that Arionne might be returning. Some stories never end. They just find a new character, Melody tweeted. The internet was in an uproar. Arionne has not commented, but the next day he posted a photo on Instagram, black and white. A pen in his hand with just 3 words in the caption. "Let's rewrite this." The world understood that she was coming back. People in Huntsville said that the same uneasiness in the air as when Melody and Martell broke up was in the air. Everyone knew. It's not just a show, it's real life whose characters have moved from the screen to reality. Arionne is no longer a girl who runs after love. She has become a woman who wants to write her own story. Melody was no longer a woman who cried and asked for forgiveness. She had become an icon. Martell was now a spectator, a prisoner of his own destruction. And finally, one night, Melody looked up at the sky and said, "Sometimes silence speaks and it says everything." At that moment, Arionne also turned off her phone, hugged her daughter, and said softly, "Now, I don't want to fight. I just want to live." Thus ended this chapter of Huntsville's story. But it wasn't the end, for where people, love, and truth are together, stories never end. They just change direction. If you also understand that there are two sides to every story. So tell us in the comments, was Arionne telling the truth? Was Melody really oppressed? And Martell, is he guilty of all this or a prisoner himself? Be sure to give your opinion, because the battle for love marriage, Huntsville, isn't over yet. In the next episode, maybe a new face of truth will be revealed.